T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Coach on Fire Radio.
Hey everybody, welcome to Brave Healing, Words That Change the World. This is your host, Laura DeFranco, and my mission is to start a revolution of brave healers who are healing themselves and the world by sharing their stories. On this podcast, we're going to have those conversations you crave. And today, I'm so grateful for my sponsors, you guys, Jerry St. John and Ginny Robertson. Ginny is the founder of the On Purpose Woman Community, and you'll find her at ginnyrobertson.com. Her mission is to connect women around the world to their gifts, their purpose, and each other. She strives to give women a safe place from which they can discover and explore their gifts, experiment with self and ideas, create community, help others, and achieve a self-defined success. Women are invited and encouraged to show up real and stand in their power. And, you know, guys, Ginny's kind of the reason I've had an incredible platform to show up and practice my own speaking in. Her local meetings are in Maryland and Virginia, and she also has an incredible global online community too. So make sure you guys visit at ginnyrobertson.com, or you can find the Facebook groups. The On Purpose Woman Community has a Facebook page. And Miss Jerry St. John of Jewels from Jerry is a special brand of awesome person, everybody. She's an independent paparazzi consultant. Jerry offers fabulous, affordable fashion accessories on Facebook Live through personalized consultations and private VIP shopping on Facebook. You can check out her group and get in on the fun at bit.ly/VIP Jerry, and that's Jerry spelled with a Jerri. And she says, we're changing lives $5 at a time. But you guys, the other thing Jerry is doing is sharing her real stories of transformation. And that's actually pretty perfect considering the topic of today's show. Jerry's got a group on Facebook called Real, Raw, and Fabulous. So you can find her there too. So now I'm going to invite you all to take a deep breath with me and really arrive here in the moment in your body. Let yourself feel the words today. Notice how a word or a tone or a topic feels inside of you. Feeling is healing. And today I'm welcoming Odette Peek to the show. After building a 7-figure business, Odette Peek suffered a personal crisis that led to a breakdown and then a rebirth of a new mission to help entrepreneurs, speakers, and leaders share their unique and powerful story with the world. Odette, a professional speaker, experienced business coach, and TEDx alumni, helps to uncover the story that is rooted in one's passion and purpose, then clarify and amplify the message to create massive impact in the world. Welcome, Odette.
Thank you so much, Laura. What a great introduction for everybody. The sponsors, for me, for the audience. Love it.
Well, you guys are awesome. And y'all, I've been really excited for you to meet Odette. Over the past year, Odette has helped me move my Brave Healer message out into the spotlight in amazing ways. So, Odette, you might remember that I actually found you because you posted your TEDx talk in that On Purpose Woman Forum. So how cool is it that Ginny happens to be sponsoring this show today?
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. That's right. I forgot that it was the TEDx one. So good to know.
Exactly. See, that little thread drop worked. Since working with you, I have been spreading my message through speaking, and I now have firsthand proof of how that works. So tell us more about how and why getting in front of people is crucial if you have a business.
It's, I can take this down so many different paths, but ultimately as a business owner, you are solving a pain for a client and you have a solution. So it's pain to solution. And you can, how do you spread that message that I know what your pain is and I have the solution in the best way possible? And what a lot of entrepreneurs do currently is they might go to a networking event and they may talk to a couple of people and they may, here's my business card, or let's go for coffee. Or they sit behind their computer and try to do all this stuff online and try to create a message from pain to solution online in a way that they probably don't even know what they're doing. And I don't mean any disrespect to anybody who is currently doing that. But when I had my first business back in the 90s, I had no internet, nothing. We barely had email. And when I started my coaching business in around 2010, I was really afraid to do the whole online piece. So I reverted back to the old-fashioned way, which was picking up the phone. I did a few networking events and excuse me, and just little what I call mini presentations. And I realized that the world is different because now you need to marry online and offline. It can't just be one or the other. And if we're out there trying to talk to one person at a time, your business is going to grow really slowly. So it's the one-to-many concept. And if you take a look at anybody who's made a difference in the world over the last, let's say 100 years, what do? Well, they literally get their soapbox, if anyone knows what that is. It's, a soapbox or a milk carton, and they put it up in front of whatever, on the street corner or makeshift little event. They stand up and now they're automatically elevated about whatever, 8 inches, however big the box is. And they become this expert because now people are looking at them up and saying, wow, they have really something to say. And that's the, maybe the primitive way of doing it, or primitive, but the old-fashioned way of doing it. But it's a one-to-many conversation. And the reality is that when people start to hear you in a group, and when people see that you're elevated, they see that you're at the front of the room, all of these little dynamics are subconscious, and people don't realize that people are now listening to you from that expert point of view. They must have something to say because they're in front of the room talking. And so what I'm trying to do is give you more of the psychology behind it rather than, and I'll get to the real reason why you should be speaking. But you got to get to the psychology of people. And when you understand this, it'll start to eliminate the fear that you have about getting in front of people, because it's, I think it's a fate worse than drowning or something like that, is to speak in front of a room. But then you have the one-to-many, and now people are hearing you with different ears. They're not hearing it necessarily as a sales conversation or to buy my stuff. They're hearing it as, wow, that I never knew that. She must really know what she's talking about. Wow, that's really great education. Or you're hearing their story, which I'll get to in a second as well. But it elevates you. And sometimes a lot of people just go up there and they don't know what the heck they're talking about. But just by the very nature that you're in front of the room, elevated, people think that you know what you're talking about. Now, I'm not saying for people to not know what they're talking about, but that's the psychology behind why speaking is so powerful. And then you just need, of course, a strategy around that. And then you need to know your story and what you are teaching. But I wanted to give that spin just so that people can understand. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that. I hadn't really thought about that automatically sort of putting you in a place of authority and power, just even the literal elevation. That's interesting that you're using that idea. And I know, so over the time that you've helped me pull out my soul story. And this is what you are all about. So tell everybody about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So when I started coaching, there's no way in hell, heck, I was going to tell my story, because to me, my story was is the vulnerable part of me, the part that I didn't think anyone needed to know. And when I started my coaching business, within that first year, my relationship ended, and literally it was like, okay, you need to move out. And when you're starting a business full time, isn't it lovely if you could have someone taking care of the bills, the kids, the house, all of that, so that you can concentrate full time on your business? Well, that wasn't the case for me 30 days starting my business. And then both of my parents, within a span of 6 months, they both fell, broke a hip, and they both passed away. And then I woke up one morning, went to bed one night feeling kind of crappy, but functioning. And I woke up the next day and I had developed an acute paralysis overnight in my arms and in my hands, and I wasn't able to move. And all of that happened within that first year of business. And I had moved out and started a business like in the new city, the whole bit. So it was a real disaster. And I made a vow. No one's going to know that story, because if they did know it, they wouldn't want to coach with me, because they would think I was weak and I didn't know what I was doing. And after a couple of years, I hit a financial ceiling and an emotional ceiling. I literally just had like a spiritual breakdown where I can't continue anymore. And I realized that I needed to share my story. I needed to tell people who I really was and what I experienced. And hired a coach, story coach, to help me get it out. And I realized after telling my story for the very first time on a webinar that I was hosting, and saw the sales and saw the reaction from people, was, wow, I really see myself in you. And you inspired me, and you motivated me and all that stuff. And I thought, wow, that's really crazy. I never thought. So that's how I started down this journey of really helping entrepreneurs uncover what their soul story is. And the definition of soul story is this: it's the very center of who you are. It's your inner sense of meaning and purpose. And when you follow your soul story, you're following your inner sense of meaning and purpose. And then your life, it just automatically fills, and it's in alignment with that meaning and that purpose. Now, that's knowing your story. So basically it's your life experiences. When you share your soul story with other people, their life begins to fill with meaning and purpose, because now people are resonating with your story. They're finding a solution to the pain point, because that's what your soul story is all about, is the solution to the pain that people are experiencing. And they start to share it with other people. So they start to share their story and their talents and their gifts. And that is the true ripple effect of impact, is when it starts from you and it just moves out. So now you're not just sharing it one or two or whatever room full of people. That room full of people then shares it with their roomfuls of people, and so on and so on. And the soul story comes from what I call your soul story moments, which are the day-to-day life experiences that you have. And we have, a billion of them. And I take people through a proprietary process that helps you uncover what your soul story, your soul story moments are, so that you can see your whole life unfold in front of you. And when you do this process, you take a look at all of the stories that you have that they're not just the big stories, the marriage, the divorce, the kids, the sickness, the death, the whatever. Often it's the little stories that we have in our life that support our bigger stories and the reason why we do what we do, especially with your tribe, right? It's about healing. It's about helping people heal a pain or a wound. And often we as healers have experienced that same pain or wound. So we know firsthand through our own soul story moments what the pain is like, how it felt, and what the solution is. And maybe that solution will help somebody else. So when we're, as speakers, I love to teach the soul story aspect of it, because, and I created a phrase that I don't think I've told you yet, Laura, but it's your story. I've forgotten what it is now. Your story seeds the offer, and your delivery nails the close. And what that means is that in your speech, you don't have to be a crazy ass amazing salesperson. You just have to be really good at knowing what your soul story is and learning how to share your soul story in a way that the audience goes, I get that, and I just need to have more of whatever it is that you're offering, right? I need to have that conversation with you. And then when you deliver your soul story in a way that moves people on an emotional journey, that moves them emotionally, stimulates them intellectually, and then moves them into action, that's when you have created a true ripple effect with your story. And that is when your talk or your speaking has made a difference to somebody else.
So if you guys are just joining us and you want to move into action right away and figure out how you can get your soul story going, please make sure to visit Odette at odettepeek.com. God, I love what you're saying about about that. And actually the next question was more about the soul story moments that you're talking about. I know when I went